Hi, I'm Danish and today we talk about the Realme X3 and my first impressions with the device. So let's just start out with the specs. So this is a Snapdragon 855 processor, 6 or 8 gigs of RAM with the storage variant of 128 gigs for both, 4 rear cameras, 2 front cameras which I'll cut down and come to in a minute, a 6.6 inch full HD display in the front with the pill cutout at the top, a 4200 mAh battery with 30 watts quick charging with the brick included in the box, and no headphone jack. Now if we talk about the build quality, this has glass at the back, glass at the front, a plastic frame in the middle, which is okay as long as it survives the jerry rig everything bend test. Coming to the front, the display is a 120Hz 1080 by 2400 IPS LCD panel. It is quite bright, quite good for usage. Coming to the main bits of the device, the processor is really solid, and I'm going to compare all of these specs with my LG G8X, the device that is recording over there. This is just the shell. If you haven't watched that video, go check it out over here. So the processor 855 plus, pretty solid processor, will last you for a long time. 6 gigs of RAM or 8 gigs of RAM depending on the variant you buy. 6 gigs is currently the minimum that you will require to use, and any less than that and then you'll see Android slugging about a bit. Coming to the storage, 128 gigs. You don't need much more than that unless you do a lot of photo video work, but that is one of the downsides because this does not have an SD card slot, so without that you can't expand your memory, so you are stuck with 128, which isn't the case with my G8X, which is luckily I have, but it's not something that will break the buying option for you. Coming to the cameras, it has 4 cameras, a primary 64 megapixel sensor, a 12 megapixel telephoto sensor, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel macro. The first 3 I agree you can have on a smartphone. The G8X misses out on the telephoto, and it's something that you don't really use a lot, but it's a good gimmick to have, and some people like to use it from time to time, so I don't have any issue with that. The issue I have is the 2 megapixel macro, which I've been raving on from the start of my channel. That's just there to add camera count, which isn't really useful in day-to-day life. You'll get used to it pretty quickly, use it for a few days out of curiosity, and then you'll forget about it. And there's something called the super macro mode in the camera app, which helps you focus on really close objects. Pretty interesting, pretty neat, not something to choose over something else. Coming to the selfie cameras, we have a 16 megapixel main sensor and an 8 megapixel ultra wide sensor. So the ultra wide doesn't make any sense. You could have just made the main sensor a bit more wider in field of view and just have that as the only sensor and crop in into that digitally and have 2 different modes, but Realme didn't go for it and added 2 sensors. They could have cut one out and reduced the price a bit more, but that's me. And the video quality of these 2 sensors, so we have the rear sensors which are capable of 4K 60 and 30, and the Pro mode is pretty good. It is pretty detailed and gives you a lot more granular control. It isn't for everybody, but the auto mode for normal photos and videos is pretty good, and even recording in 4K for normal events is not really recommended because it eats up a lot of space and not everybody has a 4K TV to watch the content on. So sticking to 1080p is pretty good, or record in 4K, downscale it so you have a bit more detail, but that's another rant for another day. And coming to the selfie camera, you can do 1080p 30. Now coming on to the sound, it has one loudspeaker at the bottom, so if you cover it with your finger, nothing is heard. There is no stereo mode with the front tweeter at the top, so it's just a single output, mono output at the bottom. One of the good things that I saw about this device was the side mounted fingerprint sensor. So this is a really good thing that every smartphone manufacturer has to bring up, because a physical fingerprint sensor is a lot better than the in-display sonic or camera wise sensor. So a physical sensor is a lot faster as well, and I would recommend everybody to start implementing this into the power buttons. But Apple did it in October in one of their iPads, so now I guess everybody will follow suit and integrate fingerprint sensors into the power button, which is a good move and I like it, and I hope everybody copies that. Also, there is no official IP rating on the Realme devices, which is kind of a drawback, but if you are already looking at this price point, you already know that nearly most of the devices do not have an IP rating, because that is additional cost that the manufacturer has to push on to you. Tell me in the comments if you are really a stickler for having an IP rating on your device, or you're okay with being careful with where you take your device. And the big 4200 mAh battery is pretty good and pretty hefty for this smartphone, and with 30 watt fast charging you can really top it up really quickly and have it go gunning and have it go all day, which is a really good thing, which is a good pro. And having a brick in the box is a big pro, because the G8X does not come with a power brick. I have to use some other one. Luckily I had the G6 18 watt power brick, which works well enough with this, so I have used that. And I also have another MI power brick, so I'm using that as well. Coming on to things that I love to be able to recommend this device. So the battery is large and nice, the display is high refresh rate, cameras are good enough, the build quality is good. Now coming on to the price. So currently it is listed for 21,999 for the base model X3 and 22,999 for the X3 Super Zooms base model, which is pretty good and pretty enticing for new people, as this phone was launched in June of 2020, so it's a lot newer. It will give you a lot more software support as well. Now I know I've taken a long time to come to this video because I recorded this a while back. Balaji, I'm sorry. I know I came and recorded the phone when you bought it, but I finally have the video up. So you guys let me know from all the pros and cons that I've given about this device. Do you think you will buy this device for the current price, or what price do you think the device should come up at? And let me know in the comments below. So I guess that's the end of this video. This was just my first impressions of the Realme X3. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, or if you want to hear more about this device, ask me specific comments and I'll try to help you out. And as usual, stay home, stay safe. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.